Okay, so this is part 2 of rust repair on my 93 Geo tracker. I'm going to walk y'all through of what I've done yesterday and today and what the plans are for today slash tomorrow and the day after. So what we got going on is I've cut out about 90% of rust on this body. I'd say closer to 95 actually. There's just a little bit left, mainly including the rock rails, and I'm going to show y'all that. But I've cut out the rusty parts of the actual structural point right there that the body mounts to. This part I'm leaving here because I have to fabricate another one, or I'm going to use some type of box steel and just weld that in. All depends on how I'm feeling. I'm going to go and look at materials tomorrow or Friday. So we'll kind of see which direction I go with. Whichever way I choose, I'll be sure to, update it in part 3. But so basically what I've gotten done. So floor pans are out, all the rusty parts of them. Up here in the front, I've cut the actual structural points out that are rusty. So not including that one because I need that one to fabricate another one. So my biggest thing though is that I'm going to start from the ground up with this on actually restoring the actual rusty metalwork on it. And where that starts with is these rock rails. So as you can see, they are pretty damn rusty, and what the biggest problem is that support welds to the rock rails. There's nothing to weld it to. So I'm going to either do one or two things. I'm going to use 1/8 inch thick steel, and I'm going to fabricate a factory rock rail, which would be the ones you usually see on these cars, without any rust or anything, how they came from the factory, OEM and all. Or I'm going to get something that I've seen other people do to these cars that's a really easy, really simple fix on rusty rock rails like this. And what they do is they take some box steel and they cut this whole strip out right here. Whole strip out. That line right there and below, they cut it out and weld it up. And that will get rid of all of this. And I'll have something to weld those supports to. Now, why that support is still there is because it's for reference. It's for when that time actually comes, I know where it's supposed to mount. So that way it's not crooked from here to here. Or it just gives me a good general reference of where it's supposed to be. Because I'm trying to make this as professional and as perfect as possible. And with a car with this much rust, it can be hard to do that sometimes. But I'm going to try my best with this. And like I said, this is all new. But we're going to make it happen. So with this piece right here, I've kept it here because I need to fabricate another one. Or I'm going to use a box steel that is the same as it. So same depth, same width, same length. And I'm going to use that. It all depends on what I see when I go material shopping. So the two materials of metal I'm going to be getting is 1/8 inch thick steel and then 1/16 inch thick steel. And same thing when I get the box beams, those are going to be 1/8 for the box beams that I'm going to use for either the rock rails or this, or I might just use the plain steel and fabricate new ones. All depends on how I'm feeling and how the price is and how I think everything will work when I see it in person. What has gone on with this corner is that I've taken those super crappy bolted on little cover-up panels out, and this is what we're left with. So we're left with the hole right there. We've got some decent rust down here, but the steel's pretty thick. I would say from like right here up is still 100% solid. It's just surface rust. So once again, that's going to be 1/8 inch thick steel. I'm going to mold it around and make it factory like how it's supposed to be, and I'm going to refabricate that whole body mount right there. Thankfully, I'm very happy with on this side and on that side. The seat supports are still very rugged and right where they're supposed to be. There's no rust around them, so I'm very, very, very happy about that. With the heat shield, I'm going to be reusing that heat shield because I think it's in pretty good shape, and good luck finding another one. So that's mainly it with right here. So it's going to be rock rails, supports, then floor pans. So we'll see how it goes. You know, like I said, I've cut about 95% of the rust out of this thing, and there's not including the rock rails, and there's not much more cutting I should be doing other than the rock rails. So this is what's going on the driver's side right here, and we're going to move over to the driver's rear corner, where it was a huge pain in my ass today because of all the spray foam, all the cover-ups, and all the rust. And yes, ignore the shock hanging down there. So this is what we're left with right here. Once again, I would say about 98% of the rust is cut out of this whole corner. And why it was so difficult was mainly the spray foam. It was an unbelievable amount. And the next reason is that when I was cutting certain parts of this, I wouldn't see any sparks come off of my cutting wheel. And I ended up looking at some of the pieces, and as you can see right up in here, there's no metal in that. That is all Bondo. So this whole part right here, all of this right here, that was all Bondo. They were just covering up all the rust, and I would take all that off and cut like double what I thought I was cutting out. And the only reason that there's still a couple teeny tiny places that I haven't cut the rust out yet is because my cutting wheel will not fit up in there. And by those places, I mean right there, my cutting wheel will not fit. And then it's another place right there, my cutting wheel won't fit. But other than that, it's all gone. All of this is very solid. So what I'm going to be doing is this whole bottom piece that comes up and all the way around, including this body mount brace right here, is going to be 1/8 inch thick steel. And then the top part you see is going to be 1/16 inch steel, because that's what's on top, and then the heavy duty stuff's on the bottom. So this corner was very interesting, and the only thing I really have to say about it is don't use spray foam. I mean, y'all do not believe what this has caused me so much trouble with today. And another thing too is that this corner would not be a quarter as bad as it is if it wasn't for all that moisture this was holding. I wish y'all could see, but this thing is very moist, and it held so much moisture for who knows how many years. And I feel it's one of the big reasons why this corner was so bad. Now with this piece, you can originally see how this was up in here like this, and that should give you a good picture of how rusted this corner was. And all of this was filled with spray foam. I cut this out, but everything where my thumb is was Bondo, and pretty much the whole gap you see in the front and the side right there was all Bondo. Why, I have no clue, but it was Bondo on top of this really, really crappy, and actually you can see a little bit of the Bondo on there, little cover-up plate that was sitting there kind of like this. It's all bent to shit from when I was ripping it out. But yeah, that's that corner, and this is probably going to be the most challenging spot of this whole thing, just because there's so many twists and turns that I'm going to have to bend to fabricate the metal that's going to go here. But I think it'll end up looking really nice, and it'll be really sturdy and strong like how it's supposed to be. If we move over to the passenger side, all of this is very nice. You can see up in here, there's no rust all the way through. There's a little tiny spot of surface rust right there, but it's not all the way through. I'll actually scuff it with my fingers so y'all can see. It's not all the way through. It's just a little bit of surface rust, but if you look down in there, there's a little bit of dirt, a little bit of junk, but it's all very solid. So thankfully I had to do no cutting over here other than right here. And if you look at this little box piece, this little box piece goes right here. And that should give you a good representation of what I had to cut out right here, and it really wasn't that much. So once again, this little brace support and this whole bottom piece right here is going to be 1/8 inch thick steel, and then this whole piece up top that's missing is going to be 1/16 inch steel. And once again, I think it's going to look very nice. I can't see this being too much of a problem on me. And yeah, so that was the rear today. It was interesting. And also I have the body supported off of the frame right now with 2 farm jacks and a piece of wood going right through the middle. So that's what's holding it up. And then we're going to come over here to the passenger side. So this is what's going on with the passenger side. I cut all the rust out of the floor pans. Same thing again though. I'm very happy that the seat support is very sturdy, no rust around it. I'm very happy with that. And why I haven't cut the center to see the actual support right here is because it's in immaculate shape. And I'm so pleased that it's in good shape and that I'm not going to have to fabricate one or cut it out or do anything to it. It's in great shape. It just needs a wire wheeling and a good paint job. I'm going to be doing that once everything else is done. So we're going to start from the back and work our way up to the front. Well, what's going on in the rear is this, is that is the 1/8 inch thick steel actual structural body support. And there's a little problem with it. We got a rust hole right here, then we got 2 tiny rust holes up there. That big one shouldn't be hard to fix, but those 2 little tiny ones, I'm going to have to get creative on how to fix that because I'm trying to cut as little of that steel as possible. But, you know, I'll do what I have to do to get it right. If we come up here, this whole side right here, very structurally sound. There's just surface rust, so once again, needs a wire wheeling and sanding. That should be good to go after I weld in completing the brace, but it's the same thing as the rock rails on the other side. As you can see right there, is that there's rust. And once again, like I said, that's what this structural point welds to, is those rock rails. So it's going to be the same thing as the other side. I'm either going to fabricate another one or pop in some box steel right there because, believe it or not, it actually looks really badass using that box steel. But like I said, I also might fabricate it. I'm not 100% sure, but we will definitely find out. So yeah, this has been part 2. And that's where I'm at with this. So kind of game plan going on with it right now is going to be cut out what's left of rust, which there's not a lot left. Rock rails are going to come first. After the rock rails are done, I'm going to do the actual structural points like that, these structural points. Then after those are sound and welded up and really nice and clean, I'm going to do the floor pans. And then we're going to move on to the rear, do everything that has to be done back there. And it's definitely simpler said than done. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll keep y'all updated for part 3. I'm not asking you to subscribe. I just want to know if this is helping someone and if I'm doing a decent job of explaining it. So if I am, or even if you're just finding this entertaining, thinking I'm crazy as hell for trying to fix a car with this much rust, leave a like, leave a comment. I want to know y'all's opinions, you know, because if you're watching this, you most likely have one of these cars. And I think everyone who owns a Geo Tracker or a Suzuki Sidekick or Samurai is a great person, and it's a really nice community. So leave a like, leave a comment, you know, share this with your friends. You know, you never know, they might run into this one day with their car, you know, Sidekick, Samurai, Tracker. It might help them. Or if you know someone who's gone through this before, like I said, you know, comment down below, because this is all new and I'm just running through it and seeing how it goes. I do not know when part 3 will be up, but like I said, I'm going to do some material shopping today/tomorrow or Friday, and we'll just see how that goes. So thank you for watching. Leave a like or comment, please, and let me know what y'all think, because I think it's going pretty smooth so far. It hasn't been nothing too crazy other than the spray foam, and it will be real interesting fabricating these pieces and watching this thing come together. So y'all take care. Thanks for watching. I should be uploading part 3 in the next day or so. So thank you. Bye.